We we have some funny stories, and the importance of the launch conference, and I'll get to the update here shortly.
You want to be Rachel?
But we're first-time entrepreneurs, and our very first VC pitch. And I feel like I should tell that not to the first 30 rows, but the guys at the very back. Those are the guys at the demo pit, the guys who are starting businesses and starting companies, and they've probably got similar stories as I have, but I want to talk to them for a minute about our very first VC pitch. We came into the Bay Area, and we got to our meeting a few minutes early to make sure that we were there in time, and the VC was late. Not that big of a deal. We understand that people are busy. We sat down and we started pitching. We got through the pitch in about 30 minutes, and the VC stood up and he said, "Where's my checkbook?" Just kidding. And then he walked out of the room. And it messed up my mind for probably a good couple days. Like, whoa, what happened? Like, why, like, we didn't get any feedback or anything like that. But we persevered, and we ended up getting accepted into launch, and we had this opportunity to present this crazy, crazy idea that the cloud and data centers were inefficient when it came to the data that users were creating with their smartphones, photos and videos, and even some of the other commercial data that they store in the cloud. And if we were to take the data center out of the cloud and put it into a small little device, we could change the world. We could change how the world stores data. We could change the environmental impact that data centers have storing consumer data. It was a crazy idea, and no wonder that first VC just kind of chuckled and said, "Where's my checkbook?" and then walked out the room, and that was that. Because we were crazy. But to the guys in the back who are also digging through this week and really trying to create traction and share their ideas and their passions, keep going. You'll have a lot of lows, and you'll have a few highs, but you just keep going. Maybe you have to pivot, maybe you have to change your idea, maybe you have to change some tact, but if you really believe in yourself and you have that reality distortion field, you just keep going until you find other people who believe in you. And that's why Launch Conference was so important for us, because it really did, we had a prototype. My co-founder came up here and he prototyped from his laptop the simulation of multiple SpaceMonkey devices, storing files to each other and retrieving them back. And that's all it was. It was just an idea and a prototype. Today, we also came on stage with a prototype of the SpaceMonkey device. I don't have a prototype in hand with me. And that's because it's actually running in my house. And to do this demo, I have to be able to do that. So here goes, right? Live demo, real product. If I can get some audio, that would be great from my laptop.
I was very amused. I started throwing bass, she started throwing back mid-range, but when
it's actually streaming from my SpaceMonkey device in my house, from my iTunes.
No, I don't. I only have a friend.
Come on. So Launch is our friend, and we are excited to show you what we've been up to. That was my SpaceMonkey device. If I go to iTunes and I go to Preferences, and I change I go to the advanced settings. Once it loads here for a second, you can change your location, change it to iTunes, which is all on my SpaceMonkey device. Click open, and you're done. And that was actually streaming from my little house in Salt Lake City without any issues. You can also access our web client. So if you want to access the desktop client, let me show you that first. We have this cute, adorable little helmet here, just similar to a competitor of ours, I guess. You can open the SpaceMonkey folder. Boom. Let's see, we got a couple of them opened up, maybe because I had one open already. Close this one. And here are hundreds of gigabytes of folders and data that I have stored on my device. It's replicated to the other storage network. I'm going to go and actually pull my slide deck you know, most people would be worried about not having this set up and ready to go, but because we're demoing the product, it's okay. So I can go to our public relations folder. Hopefully my co-founders who have a share on this folder aren't stuffing photos, inappropriate photos in my shared folder while I do this. Like puppies, what is that? Oh, that's adorable. British Bulldog? That's not adorable. Sorry guys, we'll open this. Hopefully they don't stuff any more stuff in my my collaborative Space Monkey folder.
Okay, you gotta try it somewhere, right?
This is the Space Monkey device. We are excited to announce that by the end of May, we'll have 5,000 of these units available, and we'll be just blowing up our storage network. They're a beautiful device. We have it in white, we have it in black. We also can tell you that, well, this keynote doesn't want to work. Man, I love it. All right, here we are. Here is a quick a view of the Space Monkey network in our neighborhood in Salt Lake City. We have about 0.5 petabyte of available storage on our network. We have hundreds of people using the product from California to New York, from Texas to Minnesota. We track everything. The last year we've spent a lot of time on making sure that we can manage each device. If a device fails, we want to know about it before the customer does. In fact, we know that we will, because as a customer, you'll use the product, and if the device gets turned off, you'll be able to access your data from the storage network without a problem. We track CPU usage, memory usage, how many objects it's stored to the network. We just know a ton of things about the devices itself. One of the things that I've talked about with my investors most recently was when we did Mosey back in 2006 and 2007, the landscape was so different. We had a Windows client and a back-end distributed storage system in a couple of colos. And we raised the same amount of money that we have at Space Monkey to date, and we were able to launch. For us at Space Monkey, it's different. We've got to have a web client, we've got to have a Mac client, Windows client, Linux client, we've got to have iOS, Android, and eventually a Microsoft phone support. And then, of course, all the different web browsers that we have to support. And it's taken us a year, but we're excited. May will be our public launch, where the devices will be available, and all those different platforms will be available as well in the May timeframe. So that's Space Monkey. You can store all your photos and videos. You get 1 terabyte of cloud storage for $10 a month. A lot of people have asked us, well, what does the device cost? The device is free. It's part of the subscription. We want you to know that, like, if the device fails, we will replace it. That's something you never have to worry about again. And you can share folders, share photos and videos with friends and family, collaborate documents with colleagues. All that stuff is protected and replicated in Space Monkey.
Great. Woo. Okay, so it's been a year.
Yep.
We don't have the product yet.
Yep.
What took so long? And tell us your entrepreneurial story.
I'm going to stand by the speaker.
Yeah, sure. We thought we'd have the product by now. What's taken so long?
Yeah, it's hardware is hard. I probably should have showed a picture of a tiny little diode that wasn't working, and it took us 4 or 5 weeks to diagnose that on the PCB that this little diode was giving us fits in the power. Building the distributed storage system and making sure the devices are reliable and that we can fix them on the fly, that's a lot of work. We're doing what Google and Microsoft and others do in the data center. We're doing it across tens of thousands of devices to scale. So it just takes time to build great technology, and we'll be out in May.
And since the time you launched, the price of Dropbox got cut in half,
Yeah,
correct?
sure.
So where does that put you competitively? Dropbox today for 1 terabyte is how much?
Yeah.
Space Monkey is how much for a terabyte?
Yeah, so
of cloud?
Dropbox, you can go get 1 terabyte for $800 or so.
A year.
A year, yeah, a year. I think we're 120 a year.
So 8x.
Yeah, 8x.
So 7 or 8x.
Yep. And then there's a bunch of performance issues. We're faster. We're more reliable because of the network and how far it's distributed. So you won't
What is
get
the speed
outages.
difference?
Speed differences right now, we're clocking it at over 15x. We think we can get to about 60x faster than Dropbox.
Why?
Well, for a couple reasons. One, we've got local storage, so if you're in your home and you want to stream a video, you're going to go over your local network and it's going to be really fast. If you're outside of your network and you request a file, we have the ability to essentially grab them from nodes or devices out in the network that have your file, and we can take the aggregate bandwidth and stream them back to you. So.
Great. So some great judges up here, Steph and Rachel Dave.
Oh, yeah,
welcome back from Arizona. And Rowan is back. Great to see you, pal. Some thoughts on Space Monkey. Some of you saw it last year. I'm sure many of you are aware of it. I'm not sure if anybody on the panel invested in it. Okay. So what are your thoughts on Space Monkey and where they're at?
Well, I would say, oh, wow, there I am. I love this.
Stefan's going to make me cry. Watch.
No, we discussed this backstage later. I think the biggest thing, the question I would have is just how much customer demand is there for a faster solution? Like, is today's stuff fast enough? And is it good enough? We give, not to plug our stuff, but we give 7 to 25 gigs away for free.
Sure.
And so does Google and everyone else. So is speed really the main problem people have with the online storage?
No, speed is a luxury. It really comes down to space. It comes down to how many people can afford $800. I mean, maybe this first half of the room can afford $800 for a terabyte, but the guys in the back there, if I came into their little startups and said, hey, here's a terabyte of collaborative storage for $10 a month, they're all going to just be like, give it to me. So it really is, it comes down to, my ability to store more data and even share. So if I have a, HD video that I've taken of my kid's birthday, how do I get that to grandma and grandpa? I can't email it. It's too big for Dropbox, at least my free account. So I drop it into Space Monkey, into the shared folder. Family has access to it right away. So
it's good.
I want to hear from Rowan. We remember how much crap he gave us last year. So
I'm impressed. So I want to see the product. I want to get it in my house.
What was the crap you gave him last year? I'm trying to remember.
I was complaining about the fact that I was worried you guys were going to suck up all my bandwidth, storing other people's files on the hard drives inside my house.
So I'd love to
How's
talk
that
about
working out?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that. I have a few guys on the front row who are investors. I apologize for the first month or two. But yeah, we, unlike a lot of devices inside of people's homes who try to use QoS, or they say, oh, I put my packets as a high priority, Space Monkey is the opposite. We actually intentionally make our packets low priority. From the kernel, we put in TCP/LP, and basically everything that comes out of Space Monkey is low priority. Do not stomp on that. And then we have other tools where we can actually set bandwidth constraints if you only want a limited amount. In the future, we can even go to, okay, well, let's look at patterns and determine one of the lowest used patterns of bandwidth in somebody's home and go with that. But no, it's a great point. And my kids were punished because I had like 5 Space Monkeys and they couldn't get Netflix for like a month. So.
And how many units are in the WoW right now? I have one in my office.
Yeah, you got one in your office. We've got, I want to say about 250 or so units. We'll grow that to about 500 before May. And we, as a hardware startup, and this is maybe some advice for startups, is that, people weren't readily willing to give us money until we could prove the software worked on the hardware. So we went to Best Buy and we bought a bunch of Seagate devices, we hacked them and rooted them, put our own software on them, and that's what we're using for our alpha to prove the concept. And it's worked out great. So if you can find shortcuts in the hardware world, do it.
Well, and so you guys are still pursuing we're going to have a device.
Yep.
But since it's been taking so long, do you think that maybe it's time to say we should let you BYOD? Bring your own device?
YOHD?
I think our device is still very beautiful, and then because it's a subscription and it's an asset to the company, a lot like Comcast or DirecTV, where if you cancel your subscription, you delete your data and then you just ship the device back, it's done. You don't have to worry about it.
But would you already be in market with 1 million users right now if it had been BYOD?
No. The hardware is not the thing that's taken so. I mean, distributed storage systems is a lot of work. I mean, we're combining the best in peer-to-peer technology, the best in security, as Rowan pointed out last year.
So when you plug one of these into a network, if I put a terabyte worth of data in the test, how long does it take to send out and back up without destroying my bandwidth?
Yeah,
for an average user.
So just like if you were putting a terabyte in a competitor's system, it's limited to your
Okay, I'm on a cable modem. I use it for 5 hours a day.
So a few months would get it all up there and using it.
A few months?
Yeah.
Even if I only use my 25 gig cable modem 5 hours a day?
So 2 points. One, you'll get it to the device in a couple of days. It'll be there. It'll be fast. You can close your laptop or throw away your disk drive, and in the background, it'll quietly start redistributing it out into the network. So that's the convenient piece. Is a lot of people have laptops and they have to sit there and go, okay, I got to run 100 gigs worth of backup, and I can't close my laptop or it stops. This is quick and fast, and then it replicates out to the network.
Got it. More questions from the panel? Yeah. Dave?
So kind of poking down a little bit. So you're saying it might take up to 3 months for the terabyte to be pushed out. So I'm assuming as a consumer of the product, when I first get it, I won't necessarily, I guess I'm harping on speed because I think speed's a cool asset you have here. But I won't get that full benefit likely for a few months after I purchase.
Yeah, you'll have one copy on the device as a local cache, but to get the full backup benefit, it'll take some time to make sure that we don't trample on your Netflix and that we're working in off hours and things like that. And it just takes time to get it out there. No difference than anything else in the cloud today.
Except that you're pitching the benefit as it's distributed, therefore it's faster. So
yep.
I don't get the benefit for a few months, which just as a consumer messaging point, it could be a bit of a challenge, right? Because I'm not getting the speed that you promised me.
You at least have a secondary copy on the device, and that's the key piece.
Yeah.
Great. Let's hear it. Oh, and so when exactly are we going to get our units? When are we going to be able to buy it?
You're going to be able to buy it just before May, but units should be coming out in May.
Wow. Yep. Okay, let's hear it for Space Monkey. Great update. Okay, first up.
I guess I have to be here.
Navisense from Sydney. Yes, Clinton, you get to be a judge now. You won, and you get to be a judge, as is tradition.
Oh, no, David's in the panel.
All right, so I just arrived at the launch festival, and I'm looking for my friend Jeff. I know he's here somewhere, but in this huge crowd, I just can't find him. So the first thing I do is I send him a text. And he tells me something like, he's at the 14th row, towards the left, but hang on, does it mean my left or his left? But he's sitting behind someone wearing a red hat. Jeff, that doesn't really help me. So what options do I have? Well, I can run an app like Apple's Find Friends. But the problem with these type of applications is that they just don't have the resolution and the accuracy for me to know where Jeff is within this building, let alone if he's even on the same floor as me. So the year's 2013, we're in Silicon Valley at the launch festival. Surely there must be some type of technology here which can help me locate Jeff. Well, today, I'm going to give you a glimpse of the very near future. Jeff, why don't you come on out? Now, as Jeff walks down the stairs, you can see that we can monitor his motion and position with very fine granularity in 3D, in real time, without having any sensors placed within the building. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's amazing.
So how are we doing this? Well, Jeff is wearing a device which we designed to locate firefighters. But this device uses only motion sensors. The same motion sensors that are placed in every smartphone on the market today, including the one that's most probably right in front of you now. But the problem with most of these motion sensors is that the quality is so low that they're only useful for a few trivial things. They can tell you whether your device is in portrait or landscape mode, but that's really about it. What Navisense has done is we've developed... Take a seat, Jeff. Oops. So what Navisense has done is we've developed technology which we've made a quantum leap in motion sensing technology. Our patent pending technology, which we call Motion DNA, processes motion sensor data to provide us with a navigation solution. In real time, in 3 dimensions without relying on anything like Wi-Fi or GPS. Okay, so what does this mean? What does this mean to us? Well, this is what Uber looks like today. You're at LAX and the driver just sees a blue dot. He has no idea which floor you're on or which terminal you're on. But this is what Uber can look like tomorrow. Using our technology, the driver can now see that you're at the 3rd terminal at the Virgin America stand, outside door number 7, and at the arrivals level, not at the departures level. He's not circling around while you're still waiting to get your coffee, or even worse, maybe trying to find your luggage. And there's a few other examples which we can go through. So when you're out shopping indoors, and this is actual data collected in yellow, which you can see walking about 3/4 of a mile indoors at the Miracle Mile shopping mall in Vegas. And here not only can you locate yourself with fine resolution, but a store can even lead you to where an item is on the shelf inside. And of course, you can also track where your friends and family members are, what floor they're on, and while you're out shopping, you can meet somewhere for a coffee without getting lost. And you can even keep an eye on your kids while you're busy checking things out. And let's not forget the original design, which was to locate firefighters in 3D inside buildings to make sure they're safe during emergencies. There are a whole bunch of applications which we can now pull through locating indoors. And we can now perform web-style analytics about human behavior, indoor location, so that we can now target services much better towards mobile devices. We're extremely excited about all the opportunities and the applications and the corresponding business cases of these, and we're looking forward towards making every mobile device location aware. Thank you.
Thoughts from our judges?
So, it's very cool. You're not using Wi-Fi or GPS, it's just the motion sensors.
That's correct.
How are you getting
initial start point?
Yeah, I mean, where's the relative values you're getting to sort of...
Okay, so the location is relative to an initial position.
Okay,
so what we've done is we're at an initial position here and it's all relative towards there. So in an example, say at the launch festival, that initial position may be when you sign up and get your card. And then people can know where you are.
But there's a lot of people trying to solve indoor location with a lot of different solutions. This is really interesting. You said that device he's wearing it's not like an iPhone or a regular...
No, so the device he's wearing, which I can pull up now. So the original task was to design a device made for first responders like firefighters. So this is a ruggedized device which is waterproof and smash-proof, but all that's inside is motion sensors, that's it. And similar to the ones inside your mobile phone.
Are they good enough? I mean, have you proved that you can use the ones that are in an average smartphone?
Well, these are about 2 years older than what's on the market right now. And the keys is the algorithms. So when you have a good sensor, it still performs badly. So to perform on a MEMS sensor, which is low cost, the algorithms already have to prove themselves enough to say that, you know what, there's such a disparity between high quality sensors and low quality sensors that we expect that to translate to a whole range of sensors.
And how do you set the start point? If you come out of an airplane, for example, we get a GPS signal, how do we know exactly where we are? How do you think you do that?
Well, there's a few scenarios. So the first one might be when you go in a building and GPS disappears, that would initialize. But I would see this as part, or the core driver of an indoor location style system. So it may have some elements of, say, Wi-Fi and GPS, but this would provide the core driver of that.
I guess the question I have is do you require venues to load their venue maps in? It seems like you'd have to have some kind of venue map load, right?
Well, this will actually work without a map.
Okay.
I only put that map just for clarity. So we're actually not even using the map for the location. It was just overlaid on it. So of course it makes it much more easier to visualize where you are with a map. But everything here is translated in real coordinates. So if you have a map that's, well, you know, in meters or feet, then it will just plot directly on that.
Real coordinates relative to an initial position, which you must specify.
That's right, yes. But it is real coordinates, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the IP really is from a given point in space, the ability to track motion away from a given point in space. That's the real core IP you have.
Yes, that's right. So the core IP is really overcoming the problems with low-cost sensors. And that's a really big sticking point.
So ultimately, are you a technology vendor to the mobile phone manufacturers? I mean, is that the end game here?
Well, you can consider us as a technology company, and ideally it would run either as a service at the OS or even deeper, say embedded with every motion sensor or every processor, which then can use, say, a set of different motion sensors to provide a location output.
And so, to be clear, are you then selling them software, or is there a hardware component you're selling them as well?
No, software. So the hardware component which we have here is
they're already in the
first
phones.
responders. Yes, that's right.
Basically, you'd be selling them a better algorithm to go in the OS to enable this type of mapping.
That's right. We're going to enable indoor location from their existing motion sensors.
Does having the sensors on at all times drain battery?
Well, although you have the sensors on all times, you're avoiding the RF transmission because it's all done locally. So in a way, you're saving on having to ping all these Wi-Fi access points or to access cloud services, which costs a lot more in terms of battery life than just the sensors are very low power themselves.
So where are you in 6 months? Like, where do you want to be? What's the beginning game for 6 months from now?
The first step would probably be to have a proof of concept app running on the phone rather than a hardware device here.
Yes.
But then the next step would be to embed deep in the OS or provide an API that any developer can then use. So at the launch app next year or whatever app it would be, the developer should be able to request an indoor location, a high resolution location, and know exactly what direction you're facing, how far you walk, and everything like that.
So what is it going to take to have that on my iPhone? What's the initial next step?
So I'm not familiar with the details of having an API running on the iPhone or my own API. I think Android's a lot simpler to get that running on there, but that would definitely be the next step. So first it might be an app that just accesses, say, Google Maps. And once you go indoors, it continues plotting on the trajectory to show you you're inside the building and so on.
So it starts with a basic map.
So I guess this is where I keep getting stuck, I guess, and I apologize for this, but it seems like your example of Uber getting me at LAX. I mean, the challenge that we have, again, is that initial location. If I get off my plane in LAX, you don't have enough resolution to actually pinpoint my location in the first place, so every step I take is going to be potentially not accurate. So how do you overcome that problem? You have thought about that?
Well, the heading is generally, the initial heading comes from a magnetic sensor, so that's not too bad. We know which direction you're facing.
Sure.
And there's actually some IP which I'm not demonstrating here, which is how we get a location using a map itself. So that's one side of it, but ideally, running on a phone, it would use some sense of the Wi-Fi geolocation to get the rough location that you're at.
And like Wi-Fi Slam out of Stanford actually has done a lot of work to do indoor positioning with Wi-Fi. It seems like you could do a partnership or something with there where you could use them for indoor triangulation, and then I'm not sure why you need you guys at that point, though.
Well, so the big problem with RF signals, including Wi-Fi, is, I mean, this worked pretty well here, transmitting data at 130 hertz to the device for a nice visualization. But the problem is as soon as someone sets up a sign or a table, it interferes. And at an event like this, where we have a lot of people, the human body absorbs 2.4 gigahertz very well. And what it means is all the calibration or the fingerprinting of Wi-Fi devices then gets thrown off. And that's important in a crowding event. So at the networking event after, when everyone's standing around, you would expect all the fingerprinting to go completely off.
Are you sampling the GPS signal after like maybe 30 or 40 seconds to see how, if you're moving in the right direction as opposed to, like being way off?
So right now, or in this example, I'm not, but what we've really built is a probabilistic estimation framework, and it takes in various information sources, and it can even use a map. But that's one of the things that we can use basically as various points along the line. Okay. But in the most cases, we've gone tracking, for example, that Vegas data set we showed or a whole bunch of outdoor data sets too, completely without GPS. And it's been, very well.
One more question from me. Why did you invent this? I mean, like, what was the passion behind you and the thinking of this?
Okay, well, this is really technology that I developed during my PhD. So my topic was to enable indoor location mainly for healthcare and first responders. So it started off as a safety tool, so when a firefighter goes in a building, you know where they are, and if they're overcome by smoke or if they get trapped, they can call for help. So that's how the project started off. And this is the more commercial outcome of that technology which I developed.
Awesome. Let's hear it for Navisense. Next up is Trailer Pop.
I would totally wear that green thing.
Trailer Pop is the first game-driven movie discovery platform. Movie discovery is a big business. The studios spend nearly $20 billion a year trying to get all of us to watch their movies. But currently, only about 5% of that is being spent on digital platforms. We see that number growing to almost 30% in the next few years. That's about $6 billion. So that's why we created Trailer Pop, to help studios and consumers have a better discovery experience. So let's take a look at Trailer Pop. Here is our beautiful home screen, but let's jump in and maybe watch a trailer. And you'll see the gamified experience that we've built over 20,000 trailers. So let's queue up maybe Argo. Anyone see Argo at the Oscars? Whoa, Ben Affleck. So we're going to start playing the trailer, and you're going to see questions at the bottom. So shout out the answer if you know the...
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Brilliant. Next one. So the script in the film is based on a novel by...
Deadline Z.
Jason knows this. Good job. Next one. Tricky one.
Brad Pitt.
Damon.
Brad Pitt. Nice job.
I thought David too.
Canadian and US governments decided to disguise the hostages as international bodybuilders.
Location Scouts.
Boom. So you can see we're starting to get really engaged in
Wired.
the...
Playboy.
Huh?
Wired.
Playboy.
Wired. Exactly. That was the
That was High
Tech Magazine one. So we can keep on playing, right? But you get the idea. And as soon as we get excited about the movie, which we're all getting excited, we now know about the movie more than we did before. The studios love that. So we're taking people from point of passion to point of purchase. So here we go, and link straight through to buy it at Fandango. We also have partnerships with all the EST and VOD providers, the Netflix, the Amazons, the Hulus, etc. And here you're getting a taste of the gamified experience as we're leveling up. I'm a producer level, which is not bad. We got one wrong. That's okay. I know we got them all right. I beg your pardon. So let's go back and check out the home screen to see how the discovery works. So we're big believers in visual discovery. We're not big fans of reviews. For every 10, there's 5 good and 5 bad. So you've got a very visual interface. You've got program categories by our editors, so it's changing up every day. And then you have celebrities. So maybe your next movie might be from Amy Smart, famous actress, Duran Duran, who actually have really incredible movie taste. Or it might be from your friends. So it's super easy to create your own movie list in all sorts of categories. And we see our friend Jason has his favorites. So let's check it out. Maybe he's going to be our influencer. We know he has good movie taste. Blade Runner, great movie, but it's the afternoon on the last day of the conference, so let's take something a little lighter, maybe Talladega Nights. Who doesn't like Will Ferrell? So you guys know the drill on this one. The movie queues up, and the little aerial, you can share it, you can add it to a list. Will Ferrell.
Ricky Bobby was born
Wonder Bread in the front row.
to become the fastest man alive.
That's my boy, Ricky!
Dear Lord, baby Jesus, I want to thank you for my family, my 2 beautiful
Cougar.
sons.
Brilliant. Okay, so you get the idea. It's really fun to play on your own, so when you're sitting at a bus stop, on the train, at the airport, you can kill some time. You're discovering movies. We call it sort of productive time wasting, but it's fun to play with friends as well. So let's check out the leaderboard. So the leaderboard here, you can see about 1,000 points equals 1 trailer. So you've got the guys at the top, 360 trailers. That's like crazy engagement. And 172, I'm not doing badly at 138. So that engagement has played through here. So in our beta test so far, we've got about 3x the industry average engagement through this gamified, very social experience. And that's led to major movie studios being excited in leveraging our platform to roll out campaigns, which we'll be announcing in the next couple of weeks. So in summary, Trailer Pop is the first game-driven movie discovery platform. We're excited to be here at launch today. We're available on the App Store today. And we have a round that we're raising for at the moment. We have some fantastic angels on board from Hollywood, Silicon Valley, Madison Avenue. Some are actually in the audience here, but we are open for more. And we're hiring, so shoot me an email at founders@trailerpop.com. We hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Thanks very much.
So I have a question. Is every user's experience the same, or is there sort of curation that learns me and learns what I like? And
Sure. So we get that question a lot, and I think sometimes when you have the Amazon experience, where with my wife, I'm getting a lot of maybe movies about babies and things like that. So we think Uber curation is maybe not the best thing. So we try to keep it fresh, more like a stumble upon a video. So each time you come back to that homepage, we're programming it. You're going to see different celebrities. You're going to see different friends rolling through, and then we're going to be learning more about you in the background. So just because you watch one Kiefer Sutherland movie, you don't want like everything ever from Kiefer Sutherland. Or maybe you do. But that's our view on sort of super curation.
So how do you solve the problem that for Hollywood studios, it's all about that first weekend box office, right? I mean, trailers and getting trailers put in front of people, it's all about that first weekend and box revenue. And nobody knows anything about the movie, at least not trivia stuff. Like, how do you get, I mean, a lot of the value of the trivia gets better as you know the movie, or the movie becomes more well-known, like Argo. But a brand new movie, how do you convince a studio that they should, like, hey, this is for you, because
Sure.
We'll help you get more people there for the
Sure.
weekend?
So the structure that we have for our studios that, again, we'll be announcing soon is more around contests, right? So the studio is putting out all these press junkets and materials, trying to educate you about the movie anyway. So that's what they're trying to do. So through the trailer, there's a contest where you can win prizes every day, you can win prizes every week, things signed by the director, the producer, sort of fun, money can't buy stuff. And you're watching the trailer, so people, we expect, will be watching the trailer multiple times to get higher up in the rankings. So they're learning a lot about the movie, which is what the studio wants. They're telling their friends, and there's a big buy button right next to it. And then you're also unlocking value-add content as well, like the production blog, deleted scenes and like cool things they want you to see. So you're rewarding the alpha fan. And then we also have celebrity lists. So if it's a new movie, Oz is coming out, maybe you have Mila Kunis's. The more you play, you unlock her favorite movies, which is fun to share. So it's getting people into this sort of engagement funnel to educate them about the movie as well as watching the trailer, which is what they've really been excited about so far.
So you're relying on the movie theater, the movie production companies to drive the audience into your app?
Sure. So our distribution plan, currently we're launching today. So we have different models. We've got celebrities. So we've got about 70 celebs so far. They're sort of tweeting all the time, from 100,000 followers to 3 million followers. So that gives us a nice heartbeat. The studios will be putting us within their campaigns. So they're going to be driving extra fire hoses to us. We hope that we'll have that viral kickoff as well, where we start to appear on different devices. And then we have some distribution partnerships that we're rolling out as well, which we'll announce soon, which will get us on millions of devices as well.
But why would I open the app in the first place? If I, like the game, I found it hard to watch the trailer and look at the gaming part of it. If I'm interested in just watching trailers, am I actually going to be playing the game? I struggled with that while I was watching your demo.
Sure.
So two questions.
Yep.
One, why would I open the app in the first place? Am I what's the intention? Am I want to discover I want to go to the movie right now, go to see a movie right now, therefore this app's going to help me figure out which movie to go see? Number one. Or number two, when I'm in the app, am I watching a trailer or playing a game?
Sure. So we hope that it's, when you think about movies in general, that's why you would open the app. And we all think about movies in different ways. So in some cases, we have this very elegant guide. So you're seeing movie lists from your friends, from celebrities. So maybe if you're sitting on the couch on a Friday, we still have that experience where we have snow blindness going, let me go into Amazon, no. Let me go into Netflix, no. Right? So we integrate all of them on the back end. So one experience would be using it as a very cool, good-looking guide. I think if you're at the airport and your flight's just been delayed, and you go, I'm going to go and play some 80s movies, and you get that sort of memory thing, which I do on the ferry and randomly laugh to a lot of Will Ferrell movies. And you get in 2 minutes, like we were talking backstage, like Ferris Bueller. Have you ever seen the trailer for Ferris Bueller? Probably not. So you get to relive those movies, and the synapses are going, that's kind of fun. And I think, not saying it's an age thing, Rowan, but the people who are not saying it's an age thing, but in all our...
You're old. Yeah. He can't speak up, he can't hear you.
So about, the average age for people going to the cinema is around 32 and under. So within the target audience, they've already got on their screen, 2 chat windows, 2 websites, they're texting at the same time. So the good thing for the studios is they're engaging anyway.
Let's take another question.
In the trailer. So I think once you play it more, you get used to it.
You're running out of time.
So last question, John. Are you going to get paid by the studios? How do you guys think you're going to make money?
Sure. 2 different business models. One is advertising. So we've already got these campaigns lined up where the studios would pay us as a campaign, advertising campaign, and then we have affiliate fees through all the partners that we have on the back end.
Okay. Great. And what's the ultimate goal? 5 years from now, you load Trailer Pop in my iPad, what happens?
5 years from now, I think by that stage we'll have been taken out by someone. So hopefully, I'm an old school digital media guy. So there's a lot of people fighting after this space for content discovery. So we hope we would be powering multiple or some TV screens, tablets, as your point of discovery and purchase.
Great. Let's hear it for Trailer Pop. Well done.
Thank you.
Next up is Cloudless.
My wife sits on Apple TV browsing trailers constantly. It's not a bad idea.
Over 6 billion attachments will be sent today by email, filling your inbox with a lot of stuff, and there's nothing you can do about it. My name is Elliot, and I know there's a better way. Let me introduce you to Cloudless, the easiest way to move content out of your inbox into the cloud applications that you really love. So today, Cloudless is a really easy to use Chrome extension, but will soon be available for Firefox, Safari, as well as Outlook. Getting started with Cloudless is really simple. Connect your email, connect your favorite cloud applications, and you're ready to go. So Gmail does a pretty good job of allowing you to view and download your files, but wouldn't it be super awesome if you could one-click move that stuff over to your Dropbox, your Box, your Salesforce accounts? Now you can. I specify which folder I want my attachment to go to, and Cloudless instantaneously replaces the attachment with links. Look, the attachment's gone. By clicking these links, I can view and download the file directly from Dropbox, which saves me a ton of inbox space and keeps my inbox really clean. Cloudless also moves multiple things at once, making batch moves of a lot of content at once really simple out of my inbox. All right, just received an email from an enterprise company. Because these guys always send me a ton of stuff every single day, I actually told Cloudless to automatically file everything that I received from them directly into Dropbox so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, I have this problem. I have a pretty confidential financial document that I need to send to this guy, Brian, but I really, really don't want him to forward it to anybody else. We've all kind of had this problem, right? I attached the file directly from Dropbox in the cloud and set access control settings on it, making sure that Brian is the only person who can open the link. Cloudless effectively prevents my file from being forwarded to anybody. So even if my email is shared with other people, those without explicit access to the file can't even open the link. If you're the leader of a team or even an entire organization, this kind of control is extremely important. Cloudless gives you the power to oversee and control the data flow in your company. Let me give you an example. John is the manager of a sales team of 10 people. He sets an automation policy that sends all new sales contracts into the new clients folder in his team's Box account. This ensures that data is handled consistently and it's organized across his team. He can also see logs of real-time events that are happening across his team. So Cloudless gives him real-time insights and control, not just on an individual employee level, but also broadly across his entire team. And I'm super excited to announce that today, Cloudless is opening its developer API. This will be the best way for developers to connect their enterprise applications securely into the existing IT infrastructure of a larger company. So if you're a developer and you're really interested in tapping into the enterprise market, please sign up for early access at cloudless.com/API. So whether you're an email user that really needs to get content out of your inbox, or you're a team lead that wants better oversight, control, and organization of your team's data, Cloudless provides a simple and secure workflow across the cloud that both users and admins love. Cloudless is a team of 6 full-time. We work 2 blocks away from UC Berkeley campus. We raised 8/8 worth of seed financing, and we're currently looking for new business partners as well as investors. So please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks a lot.
Well, I guess the first question I have is do I really do I need this? I have so much storage as it is in my email accounts today. I mean, what I do love about the solution is the rules that you actually give me to take action on certain things, but I think, again, I can do a lot of that with existing products, say like IFT or something else. So what problem are you really trying to solve that isn't solved yet?
Yeah, so actually increased amount of storage is actually one of the big problems that businesses do have. So if you look historically, a lot of businesses who used to be on Exchange, they set like 200 megabyte inbox sizes to condition their employees to consistently move stuff out of their inboxes to prevent that silo of data. So now with everyone moving to Google Apps, now they have 25 gigs. Right? That's an even larger silo of content that's not being moved into the other applications that make that content more useful. So it's actually a huge problem for businesses, and it's getting bigger.
But why would I, as a consumer, go through the effort to care about that problem? Like, I don't know, I deal with it when it happens, but I'm not like something I'm going to proactively take action. So how do you get me to take action to deal with it?
Right, so the automation piece is a big deal, so allowing you to really efficiently organize everything that's getting into your inbox. So that's one of the things that we found with a lot of our power users, is that those people tend to like to be really organized and get stuff out into the places where they're going to want to be able to access that file. Because Gmail they do a pretty good job of allowing you to rediscover the stuff that's in your inbox, but then most people use a lot of other applications in conjunction to their email. So it's an ability to get stuff out really quickly. Also, if you're a consumer, sending stuff really securely and making sure that that file or the content that you're sharing is not being intercepted or forwarded to people that you don't want to see, that's actually a big deal for consumers as well.
Could you explain that last piece? I think what you said is, unless I have the link, I can't see it. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so one of the examples that I showed was restricting access to that link to just the recipients. So if I send something to just you and then say you forward it to David, David actually wouldn't be able to open that link at all.
Yeah. So how do you prevent from somebody just downloading it and then forwarding it on through another email client?
Sure. So this kind of solution is kind of the best out there kind of solution, because like with the technology that's out there today, you could take a photo, you could take a screenshot, and then it's pretty much shot, right? So we're constantly building on top of the solution and making it a lot more robust. But at this time, this is a better solution than what exists today.
So you're just making it inconvenient for somebody to forward it.
Yeah, so it's not just inconvenience, but then, so like when you send an email, it hits like 20 different servers, and it's possible that someone is intercepting it, maybe clicking on the link and trying to access your stuff. But with the restriction on it, even if it's intercepted by someone in between, there's no way they'll be able to open it.
So I saw Dropbox integrated into Google Mail. Anything else? Are there other?
Yeah, so
what about Google Drive? I mean, aren't they going to do this?
Yeah, so sure, we support Drive, we support Dropbox, Box, Salesforce, Zoho. So we support a lot of cloud applications ranging from CRM to
bunch, that's good. And into anything other than Google Mail?
So we support Google Mail right now. We've worked with Yahoo Mail. Outlook has been by far our most demand platform because businesses see a huge problem in this. So we're also releasing that right now.
So how do you guys turn this in from a feature to an actual company? I mean, HelloSign is a great example of, they could do similar to what you're doing right now and create a third product called Hello Store. And like just, okay, save and push it to my Dropbox. Like, how do you turn this into a business?
Sure, yeah. So we've already scaled the platform to not just move content from email to cloud service, but also from cloud service to cloud service. And the event management data security aspect of what we're doing is going to be really huge in the future. The data security and oversight market is going to be over $200 billion in about 5 years. So that's kind of where we're moving into the future.
Hey, David, you said before when we were on stage together that you look for a hook that could become a market. You prefer that. Is this a hook or not good enough yet?
Well, in the interest of full disclosure, I actually have made an angel investment in Cloudless.
You have?
Yeah, I have, because I did think that there's a hook here, which is, it's so clearly a gap. You want all the file attachments that you get through email, they should be in the cloud, right? Just automatically, whether you're using Outlook or Gmail or whatever. I mean, you definitely want to be able to access them. And I like the idea that they could be automatically put in your Dropbox account or your Box account or in a Cloudless account. So I definitely see a wedge here. And what I've been, and by the way, I think that this is something that, like, if I were Dropbox or Box, I would acquire this tomorrow because it's like a total no-brainer. And I would even say that for the mobile OSs, what Apple's trying to do with iCloud or even Microsoft or Google with Android, you absolutely want all of your email attachments to be available, through a cloud-based app. So So I think it'd be a no-brainer for this to be a technology pickup by one of those companies. I've encouraged Elliot, obviously he's got to figure out how to expand this from, you know, a feature that plugs an important gap into something that that could be a product in its own right, and I think that's what he's trying to do with the enterprise features.
So why doesn't it automatically put every attachment I have into your own cloud storage? So give everybody sort of a DVR window of, you know, 1 gig maybe, or maybe 3 gigs, whatever's cheap enough for you to afford as a startup, and just it's a rolling sort of DVR where the last file is dropped off. This way, you have an extra backup of it, an extra cloud, and then maybe you can sort of wedge that into a bigger business as well.
Right. So backup is one of the features that we have looked at for the future, but because there exist so many solutions where you can store stuff today, we didn't really think it was advantageous for us to build another storage system.
So one more question. So one of the things that we've learned is that there's filers and pilers. People, I mean, and it's a very small percentage of filers, people who are very anal about, like, okay, they put these things in these specific folders, but the vast majority of people are just pilers. They grab it, they shove it. I mean, you look at their desktop, you know, or you look at their documents folder. So one of the things with email is that it's rich in metadata, so search becomes really easy for you to look for that attachment because you can kind of associate the metadata with it. But if you move it to another cloud service and you remove all that metadata away from it, and all of a sudden they start filling up that pile of stuff, how are you going to help them find it?
Right. So that's actually one thing that we thought of really early on when we were building the platform. So everything that's moved, you saw the link that's embedded. So we keep information that associates the original metadata from the original email with the file that's actually being moved. So if you let us index your information, we can actually do search across the metadata as well as the files that you're moving.
And so they search from the plugin, from the browser plugin, so that's there, you just didn't demo it? Or?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So that's a feature that is available that's not demoed.
I would demo that.
That's good. Have you thought about storing the files automatically by sender? So I could have a David Sachs folder, you know, and a Dave Goldberg folder, and it automatically puts the insane stuff that David sends me. I'll let you figure out which David it is into the folder. So, or by
Jason's
month.
poker debts.
Poker debt folder. IOUs piling up.
Yeah, so our rules engine is pretty robust. So very broadly, you could actually say that I want to send every single attachment into an attachment folder in Dropbox. But you can also set rules. So you can set, like, you can create a Poker Buddies folder and say, like, David Sachs is part of that, someone else is part of that. So every attachment that you
see, I think that you have to do that for us to make it easier for us to understand. This is another one of those things where, like, you're making a product that can do anything, therefore it does nothing. Like, make it do something for us. Like, I would love for it to say, this is every attachment you got from the @inside.com domain, everyone from @Fortis, or everyone from @Wilson Sonsini. Like, then I would say, oh wow, my attorneys, all the folders my attorneys ever, anything I ever got from Wilson Sonsini is in one folder, for my accountant in one folder, and then it would just kind of take another step out. So I'd encourage you when you're on this journey to keep taking steps out.
No, just on that, I mean, I think photos are a lot of the things, like, if I think about the email, I mean, I really don't like it when people email me photos. I'd rather
so
get
annoying.
Rather get this on the way, but I do get a lot of photos emailed. You know, my sister-in-law sent me a photo today of my niece and stuff like that. Like, and so there is metadata attached to that photo. Like, if I could get that photo, you know, that you know it's a photo, and therefore not only did I get the photo stored in the cloud, but I'm also getting all that associated metadata, like this is your niece at the playground today, you know, and the date and all that sort of stuff attached to the photo. That would be also pretty interesting.
Yeah, I guess my challenge, as I mentioned before, is just that these things are already in the cloud already. If you have a hosted Exchange or Gmail, they're already in the cloud. So I'm not really sure moving them somewhere else really helps me. What I like a lot about this is this notion of rules. And I think, to Jason's point, I think doing something like an if then that recipe box where you could actually help me pitch this as an organization thing more than a cloud storage thing, right? Because I just, if you have 25 gigs on hosted Exchange or Gmail or whatnot, this just isn't a huge issue. What would be nice to have is actually something which helps me organize that crap ton of attachments that I get every day in an interesting way.
Are you guys versioning, like, when a document comes and it comes from, like, you know, full circle from my lawyers who've then touched it, and then somebody else's lawyers have touched it? Are you guys?
Yeah, so you can actually see the different versions of the files as they're getting.
Yeah, that's a product.
That's cool.
Awesome. Well done.
Thank you.
Next up, attitude.
Good use case.
You can hear me? Okay. Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm an alcoholic. And I'm proud of it because of the 25 million alcoholics in the US, less than 5% of us recover. It took me a long time to admit I had a problem, but after that, finding meetings was easy. But it didn't matter because it was impossible to find the meetings that actually helped me recover. And I wanted to build something that helped the millions and millions of alcoholics and addicts like us solve this problem. So that's why we created Addicade. And here's how it works. Sign up is obviously optional because of the anonymity concern. And we go to the map, and I see all the nearest NA meetings in red and AA meetings in blue. I know the ones that are most recent are happening soon because of the clock icon. And that's great. But I know that I want to go to an AA women's meeting later tonight. So I search for that and go back to the map, and I see only the meetings I need to see. The one at the bottom, I'll check that out, and it's 2.4 miles away, but it's at a church, and I'm not really into that. So I check the other one, Dark Secrets. It's my kind of meeting. I'll go to that. But I'm here with Matt. Matt's not a lady, and Matt's an NA. So his sponsor back in Brooklyn told us about this really awesome meditation meeting. He doesn't remember the name. It was a cool name. It had a lot of young people, had snacks, and it was on a Thursday. So we go to the list and search for that. We see Clean and Serene or Meditation Generation. Pretty sure it was the latter. Let's check out the details. Okay, it's got everything we need, and all these details were impossible to find until now. Comments? Robert Downey Jr., he loves this meeting. He comes every time he visits from LA, and not only do I love Iron Man, but I love his recovery. We like to think of this like Yelp, but for meetings. I love Yelp, but worst that happens with a bad restaurant is I get food poisoning. Worst that happens with a bad meeting is I never come back, and I might never recover, or worse. So we bookmark it to remember it for later. Awesome. This is the first step to getting to the meetings that really help us recover. Solidarity and sobriety is one of the most important things. But we want to take this one step further and bring the offline experience online. Here's my member profile. I put all the information I would want my community to know about me. So I'm 24, I live in Brooklyn. I like pot, pills, alcohol, sex, just a little too much. My rock bottom, when I got fired from my job at the tech lab in college for stealing external hard drives to pay for my habit. Can't do that anymore. My moment of clarity was when I realized no one wanted to party with me, and I was just a major disappointment. Matt looks at my profile, that resonates with him, and, all right, let's go back. And it resonates with him, and did the server crashed, maybe, I think. I'm sorry.
No worries. Just
okay.
reboot.
So that resonates with him, and he saw from our interests that we're both programmers, and we both love to bake, but the good kind of bake. So I really want to show you guys the last page, but all right.
Big round of applause while he reboots the server.
Okay, cool.
These are live demos. You're doing awesome.
Control K, and then one up. Okay, cool. All right, so.
This is a live demo.
Yeah. All right, so it should be back now, running. Okay, cool. So click on that button. Up. No, it's that. The one right below it, I think. No, the purple one. Up. Yeah. Okay, cool. So as I said, solidarity and sobriety is super important, but so is self-awareness. All of us here know that rewarding people for good behavior is a great motivator for change. And here, I have my daily dose of challenges that help me get a routine in my sobriety, like fill in the blanks, picture prompt. I see yesterday I did a word choice. My idea of success is most defined by keeping a schedule, sobriety, and focusing on today. This way, I can share it with my community, look back, see my progress, and have a sense of accomplishment no matter what happens. So why are we here? First and foremost, to get the word out. If you know anyone in healthcare, anyone who is an addict or might be, please tell them. We want to help as many people like us. Second, it's just me and Matt with an MVP. Code is like less than 8 weeks old. We want to get a great crack team to help us grow this as fast as possible and as awesome as possible, especially some designers to help us change the way people view and experience recovery. And also, we're not just a do-good app, we're a do-good business. $460 billion is what addiction costs the US annually. And the recovery industry, it's $15 billion a year, and it's projected to double within the next year. So we want to revolutionize recovery. It hasn't changed much since 1937, and we want you to join us. So that's it.
Awesome. And by the way, all of that with a server crash in the middle, great job of rebooting the server. It's the first time somebody rebooted their server and finished the presentation on time. One big round of applause for Matthew and driving. That was awesome. Wow. So, you know, obviously we have a range of projects here. This is one of those 8-week projects that we saw and said, God, this has got momentum. Questions from our panel?
Sam, I think this is awesome. Congratulations.
I think you're awesome.
Content, where's that coming from? Is it going to be community generated? Are you going to sort of reach out to, I mean, how will we populate the, what's the data source?
Definitely community generated is a good one, but from the start, it would have to be us and the team that we assemble.
Okay.
This data exists where now? Is it all in one source?
The meeting data?
Yeah.
Yeah, we scraped it, and right now we have NA, AA, GA, which is gambling, and OA, but we want to focus on substance first before we branch out to...
But is it in one data source, or is it, when you explained it to me previously, it's on many different state and local levels? Or is it one place? Yeah.
Yeah, the data is pretty fragmented right now. The meeting data is all over the place at state, local, national, and international level. So what we have, we've scraped some of this data, and we want to scrape the data and try to keep up with that, but we want to allow our community to update the data as well to keep it fresh, because even those sources, even the local sources, are not up to date.
Nobody has ever created a single database of this information.
Well, no, there is a single database, but the main differentiation is that all you know about it is the time, the location, and there's no other input. Like, for me, I love snacks, coffee, and young people meeting. And it was impossible to find. There's so many times where I haphazardly ended up at, 5 people. No one was really there that I related to. And that's what we're trying to do, is get people to understand where they are.
Great idea. How would you make money?
We were thinking lead generation. First of all, recovery is 25,000 minimum, can go up to hundreds of thousands. We also want to work with recovery centers to help them manage their patients.
So I think, first of all, amazing job of being able to not allow your addiction to define you, but for you to define yourself. I think that's an amazing job. The second thing is, who cares about making money?
Yeah,
go do this.
Thank you.
Go do this because you're passionate about it and you love it. And good people will find other good people who will fund it. And I bet you there are people in this room who will come up to you afterwards and say, let's talk. The third thing I think is, are you building online support groups? So if I happen to meet you and we're at the same center and you say, hey, download this app, let's be friends, and if I'm ever having a down day, I can literally just push a button and say help, and you know my GPS location, you know my phone number, you can text me, you can start interacting with me, and you can help me get out from the bottom and rise up to where you are if you're in a good position. Are you doing that? Is that on the roadmap?
Yeah, definitely it's on the road. Like, I got a lot of inspiration from OkCupid. You can just put your broadcast and get anyone. I was thinking the same thing. It's really hard to, get the support you need. So.
Yeah, I think I think we are all kind of honing in the data sources. It's going to be really, really hard and be probably a long process to get enough data, consistently accurate data in a system. I think what I love about this is that ability to have the online community, as you were saying, and I think there is probably a lot of power you haven't necessarily explored there yet with being able to have the one-on-one interactions with people when you do need those challenges. There's a guy here, Matt Waller, you should talk to, who's a behavioral psychologist, could help a lot with honing how you actually do that.
Cool.
Which would be great.
Awesome.
Yeah, talking about the community bringing data to our app.
Treatment.
Yeah, one idea was to allow people to create treatment plans. Like our daily dose are activities that we're going to create to start with, but it'd be great if my sponsor could share with me his treatment plan. Like, these are the things I did to get clean and stay clean. That's how it works in the rooms in the analog world, and we want to bring that all into the digital world. As a layer on top of this already great program.
Yeah, it seems like, you're sort of scratching the surface here. It sounds like this is a system that is still analog, and there's probably a lot of different opportunities you get into there. I would think there's in a way, a whole kind of CRM system that's needed for sponsors to work with people to, say, I'm going to show up today at the meeting, and then if you didn't show up, for people to follow you. Like, there's probably a lot of interaction between you and sort of the centers and the groups if you can kind of build it. I mean, there's a lot there. So, it's great that you're starting this, and you'll probably find a lot more as you kind of dig in.
And do you think starting as the Yelp of meetings is a great starting point, Dave?
I think like Stefan talked about, I mean, you need the data source. So you got to start somewhere, and I think, I think it's as good a place to start anyway, because you've got to aggregate the users and the data. But I think probably if you're going to build it into a business, my guess is the business is about building those systems. So I don't think this is not an ad-supported model.
Right.
No, that's our secret plan. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, the lead generation for somebody going to recovery might be a couple of $100 per lead for lead gen. But yeah.
Even more than that.
More than that, wow.
Sure.
I think licensing this to treatment centers, actually, the app, the one-to-one app, the kind of pairing app, I think is, to me, more interesting than the Yelp of meetings. I just think that's going to be so hard to get right and accurate. The ability to have your kind of online sponsor, or the kind of OkCupid, I think licensing that to treatment centers, having them push this out as their, to me, that seems like a much more sustainable.
Uber for sponsors?
Huh?
Uber for sponsors?
Who would work for sponsors?
Uber.
Oh, Uber for sponsors.
For sponsors. Like, seriously,
Uber
I am in trouble.
Oh, yeah, that kind of sponsor.
And a sponsor comes to you and says, hey, let's sit and have a coffee.
I love that idea.
Yeah. I think the communication platform here is the way more interesting piece. And I think you can go and find, Bing might be able to help you with normalizing data. Maybe Google would be willing to look at it. I mean, I think the communication platform here is the exciting thing. That's the thing that I encourage you to just go after, and it'll multiply on its own.
Cool. David, any thoughts?
Nothing to add.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I actually think I'm going to disagree with some of the judges. I think the Yelp piece is so brilliant because people are so familiar with Yelp that when they get into the app, they're just going to instantly do it. And because it's hard to get that data normalized, you're not going to have a competitor for years. I mean, you could just go after the top 5 cities and instantly have something that's of tremendous value and then add the communication piece as each city hits scale. Just like Yelp rolled out from San Francisco to LA to New York, you just get perfect city by city.
I think the risk of being wrong, having a wrong meeting time or a bad meeting, it's not there. I don't know, but I'm assuming if you were scheduled to go to a meeting on a Thursday and then you get there and it's not happening, that's a problem. And I just think the risk you have of having bad data is high. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It feels like a good time. It feels like a great time for your company. I mean, people now expect to be able to find this kind of information, and it's something that's shocking now when I can't find this in an iPhone app. And so
and like you're pinching in Safari to try to find it and looking on like some old church's website. Like, oh my God.
And we look at it in the really long term is that the kids who are growing up now who aren't even yet using but will become addicts, they live in a world where Yelp is ubiquitous. So if this recovery doesn't meet that challenge, then things are going to be even worse in the future.
Good job.
Okay, well done. Big round of applause. And let's welcome Fanforum. Yeah, wow, crowd favorite. Fanforum.
Everyone has a hobby they're passionate about, whether it be photography, golf, hiking, something you know better than anyone else, something you could talk about for hours on end. Wouldn't it be nice if you could help create the next product breakthrough in the hobby that you love? Well, with fanforum.com you can. Fanforum is a platform for the crowd innovation of new and innovative product ideas in hobby areas. We bring together fans, experts, and factories to collaborate around new ideas and product. To introduce our process today, I'd like to quickly introduce David, my co-founder. David is also a photography expert. And this week, together with dozens of other photography experts around the country, David will receive a sample product. That sample product will ask David and the other experts to rate, evaluate about what products they use, how they use them, and the problems that they'd like to see solved on the product. We take all of this information together to form a video. That video brief That video brief starts a process of field testing and introduces to all of the other experts in the community what the challenge is about and what they're going to create. It provides clear instructions about the theme of the challenge. In this case, it's a photographer's backpack for backcountry photography. Once viewing the video, David goes in to the challenge, and he's immediately struck by the fact that there's a fun visual way of exploring the product ideas that he loves. He understands that there's ideas here from a crowd of people who are just like him, whether it be photos of people in the backcountry hiking, great ideas for new designs and colors, or, in this case, a compartment for his lenses. David is also excited about one idea in particular, and that's for zippers. Normally wouldn't get too excited about zippers, except for the fact that the last 2 backpacks David's had, the zippers broke. He goes into this idea immediately and explores the fact there's 2 other people just like him who've had the same problem. On top of it, he notices that there's a factory. In this case, it's Terry Chang at V-Goal. Terry's talked about a number of the materials that could help solve this problem. David hones in on the fact that gunmetal is his material of choice, and his favorite backpack in the past used gunmetal. So he's going to put some weight behind this idea. David's starting to get a sense this is a community where he can really bring his ideas to life and start forming them. And Terry, the factory owner, loves FanForum because she gets to engage in a real discussion with experts about ways that products can be improved. After spending a bit of time with this idea, David goes back out. He wants to see how this idea is shaping up. And he goes to the vision board. The vision board is a place that FanForum brings together all of these ideas from different experts and puts them in order of rank based on real feedback from the user group, the factories, and us. This is the place where ideas start crystallizing and we're able to get an idea what the product is going to look like when we take it back to the factory. So at this point, we've taken you through the first 2 steps of our formation. First is field test, the second is the brainstorming phase. Now I'd like to introduce a second user. He's a guy we've been working with. His name is Cooper. He's a skateboard enthusiast. Cooper's been working on his ideas a bit longer, and they're at this stage where they're getting down to the launch stage. Not this launch stage, but he's working together with FanForum, the factories, and the expert users. We've developed a prototype that we launch back into the brainstorming page. Cooper wants to take a closer look, so he goes into here. He notices immediately there's real feedback again from the factories and designers. And when he goes down to the bottom to see the vision board, he can see that some of his ideas have been included in the design. In this case, it's for a wheel. He's excited about this because for every great idea he adds to this, he's going to get a share of the future sales. So he goes back up, and he's going to move through and actually take a purchase. It's a great price because it's a factory direct product, and he's going to be helping us move it to the next level. We have a minimum order. In this case, it's 200 pieces, and he feels pretty confident that with the friends he has and the people that he knows in his community, we're going to help reach that order. He helps name the product and then share it into his social community. Okay? FanForum is inspired by the possibility of recreating a relationship between customers, brands, and products by moving products and consumers closer together. FanForum believes that fans are in the best position to create product breakthroughs and new ideas. FanForum is a raw startup based in China, and we're currently going through seed funding. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thoughts on Kickstarter plus Quirky plus factory workers actually in the process? Thoughts? I see nodding. Rowan, what do you think?
I think it's an awesome idea. I mean, I'm a gadget lover and like an outdoor enthusiast. I buy a lot of products from all these companies, and I wish I could give them feedback. And they actually accept their feedback from technical enthusiasts, but not from me. And it would be amazing if you could go to Patagonia, for example, and say, hey, here's a way for you to actually like engage your entire community in your product design, because there are thousands of enthusiasts that I would love to use this product.
You've climbed a couple of big mountains.
A couple.
What's the biggest?
McKinley.
You climbed McKinley, wow.
So I think it's an amazing idea to go to these big brands that are really engaged with their consumers, who want a new way to engage and make their consumers into enthusiasts and pull that feedback in. I mean, I would use this all the time.
Yeah. I think, just to jump in, I think one of the ways we came upon this idea is that we live in China and we have fairly close access to a lot of factories, and all of our friends with great ideas and hobbies are going to the factories directly because they can do it there. And that's something that we wanted to give access to here.
So do you have a set number of factories that you would work with? Is that how it would work, or does it bring your own factory?
Well, what we've done is we've identified product categories in hobby areas that we know and like and have experts in. And we've started the process by going and finding the best factories in each of those category areas. I think further in our process, we'd like to open it up and be a little bit more, bring your own idea and bring your friends to support it and then launch it. But our beginning phase of 6 months to a year, we want to control the process tightly.
I immediately thought of this would be a great thing for Kickstarter or Indiegogo to partner with, because like the All of One right now, for example, everyone's giving feedback to these guys as they're building out the product.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome if they could have something like this that would help those platforms actually do a better job collecting that feedback. I think this is awesome.
Yeah.
Totally use this.
Yeah.
So what's not clear to me is how we got from the fan feedback to the actual product to purchase. How's that working exactly?
So basically, we go through a phase of trying to consolidate that in a vision board. And it's not as clean and clear a process as I think you see here. We've skipped through a couple of steps for the purpose of a 5-minute presentation. But basically, we crystallize all the ideas in the form of a vision board. We then work directly with the factories, and we have a design team in China that helps us then bring together prototypes. If the first prototype launched in the community doesn't go through, then we adjust and we go back to the second one.
Who has the final say? Like, is somebody in charge here, or is nobody in charge here?
Well, we're basically...
I mean, to rephrase your question.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
For sure. So we're going and we're developing a number of prototypes. So we're going to take one prototype, launch it in. If it meets its MOQ, its minimum order, then that's proof of success. If that one doesn't, then we launch a new one back into the community later.
So there's somebody in China who says, okay, I've taken all the feedback, made the final version as I see from your feedback.
Yeah, we'll
here it is. Does anybody want it?
That's right.
If they don't want it, start again.
We'll make multiple prototypes that we can sort of plug in.
Who owns it then? Is it you guys own it?
So
does the factory in China own the design, or is it open source?
We at least with our startup and that 6 months to a year of runway where we're controlling it, we would control the IP and give a share to the people who've contributed to it.
How much of the profits go to the contributors?
In the beginning, we're reserving 25% for the contributors. If we open it up and allow more people to come in and say, I've got my idea and my group of passionate experts, we're going to open up and take a much smaller share like a Kickstarter does, for instance.
Rachel, if you were assigned the legality of doing this, I mean, you're like tipping your head back. Like,
it's China. It's easier, right?
So in China, basically, you basically would bribe a general. We understand that legal process. But here in the United States, I mean, how would you construct the sharing of revenue with individuals who you don't know? I mean, and giving them 25%, is that even possible?
I mean, I don't think it's impossible. That was actually another question I was going to ask. Do you have people that you're employing that are sort of aggregating these visual boards and, figuring out this is how this product works? So effectively, they're actually taking a bunch of inputs and actually they're actually the product designers, right? Are those people on your payroll?
Right. At the moment, no. We're very new, but it's in our plan to have that group of people inside of our team that can collaborate with outside designers in the factories. And to the point on legal, I mean, we definitely anticipate that as a big part of what we need to take care of. So.
Well, Wilson's willing to give you $50,000 in complimentary legal services. Wilson will give you $50,000 in legal.
Right.
Only because they know this is going to cost $250.
Everyone loves a good legal challenge. Yeah.
More thoughts from the panelists.
Yeah, so I worked at a company called backcountry.com, and you may have purchased some stuff there for your climbing, and we have tens of thousands of community members who are giving feedback on things. And we actually tried to do a similar thing where we brought Patagonia and others in to maybe like seed gear. They won't do it. They just won't do it. They have their designers and the people that work for them are so core in their product, and they're the ones who use it. They also have a very short turnaround time, and so they don't have time to send it out to people and wait for them to get feedback. And also, the feedback is sometimes very terrible. And oftentimes they're just doing iterative improvements on a product, not a total new product design. And so I feel like that's round hole, square peg, or whatever it is, you know, how the saying goes. On the flip side, I think there are a lot of industrial designers out there who have an idea for something, and their biggest problem is they need a mechanical engineer, and then they need a factory support, and they need QA, and they have all these things in the process. And I feel like the story that I just got from you was all over the place, and I wish we could like rewind and have you start again and say, okay, what's the problem you're solving? Who's the really unique people?
Respond. We get the question. Go ahead. Respond.
Yeah, I think the problem that we're solving is, you know, I think it speaks to some of what's happening on Kickstarter, and that is the opportunity to come in and take ideas that are close to your heart and bring them to life. And I think that's made possible by the factory connection. I don't think we're about raw invention like a Kickstarter is. I think we are about the iterative improvements. On
Is this really a reaction?
So if it's iterative, why would I give you 75% of the revenue?
No, I mean, we're reserving 25% for the people who are helping us make iterative improvements.
Oh, so I'm giving you 25% to iterate on a product I've already developed?
Yeah.
Or
we're not
it's not your product.
By the way,
it's
we're
just
not
a
working with
generic
brands.
product.
We're not working
Yeah,
with brands.
I wouldn't work with brands. I don't think that's a good idea. I think to your point.
All right, let's hear it for Fanformed. Very well done.
Thank you.
Obviously, sparking tons of feedback. Next up is Witty Parrot. Go.
Hi, I'm Anil Jwalana. This is Rajesh Shetty. We are a cloud-based sales communication software. We solve two problems. Number one, we enable salespeople to find the right information instantly at their fingertips. Number two, we enable the salespeople to speak with one voice and deliver consistent messages. Now let's see how Jennifer, a brand new salesperson who is selling Cisco line of products, how she leverages Witty Parrot. So she is accessing the widget which has reusable content blocks for her prospecting email that she is intent to send out to one of her contacts. So she looks for the different documents and content. So now she's providing some information about MX series of products. She can browse through the content. And if you look at here, she can instantly drag and drop the reusable content created by her boss and act like a professional salesperson instantly. And she can also drag and drop some images. Please note that the documents or the images pulled here is live from the original source. This way, the currency of the information is always guaranteed. So now she's adding few more information such as case studies, and she can add few more documents to that. Actually, she's composing the entire email much faster than I'm speaking here. So as soon as she is assembled her email, all she has to do is just send it out. So now let's see how Jennifer's boss, Bob, how he logs into his system and shares the new line of product content with Jennifer so that she can start selling much broader portfolio of products. So Bob is logging in to the system, and he goes to the WebEx line of products that he wants Jennifer to sell. He goes and shares the content that he has created. Already she's been shared. So now let's see how, when Jennifer logs back in, how she can instantly have access to the new line of products and be a professional in selling the sales software. So if you see here, now she goes to the shared workspace. She can pin it. Now she goes to the shared workspace to find the widgets that she wants to send it out. She searches for the WebEx line of products now. Boom, she already has access to that. She can review the content if she would like. She can simply drag and drop, and she gets the whole content. So now, the exact same content is accessible by multiple salespeople with whom Bob has shared the information, and make sure that everyone has a consistent message. And if you have noticed here, she is assembling different content blocks on the fly to create this document. She is a smart salesperson, so she thinks that, I have to assemble these multiple blocks. How about me creating a new widget instantly from this email so that I don't have to drag and drop this multiple times and assemble this email document? All she has to do is just go to the BCC, and she has a unique email address that we have provided. As soon as she sends out the email, the widget is automatically created in our repository so that she can start continuously reusing it again and again and again. So what you have seen here is an on-the-fly assembly of an email document. Well, our system works not only just with the email. You can assemble Word documents such as NDAs, RFPs, SOWs on the fly instantly using these reusable widgets. At the same time, you can even drag and drop them into a PowerPoint presentation and on the fly create a new presentation before walking into a customer site. So essentially, when we did the market study, what we wanted to come up with a very simple, very easy to use, elegant solution where there are no plugins, there are no add-ons, and there is no upgrades. When you drag and drop our widgets into a Word document, PowerPoint presentation, a browser, an instant messaging, wherever it is, it just works. It is very disruptive and innovative in technology, and a lot of engineering has gone into this. So with this, the three key takeaways is we enable the salespeople to find right information instantly on the fly. Number two, we enable them to speak with one voice so that everyone can deliver the same consistent message, whether it is inside the salespeople, inside the enterprise, or with the partner sales as well. And as a result, they can sell more.
Great. Let's hear it for Woody Parrott. Sales automation. What do you guys think? David, is this something like the sales department at Yammer has a problem with? Is everybody speaking with one voice?
I think this looks really useful. And not just for sales, but also I think customer service would use this to respond to customer service inquiries. Having a single shared, easy to use social database of, frequently used content, I think it's pretty killer. I think the question is, to what extent does this exist already? Where does Salesforce end and you begin? I mean, doesn't Salesforce have a lot of these templates and that sort of thing, or no? No. So,
nobody has this, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
I've looked for it, so this is great.
Thank you.
Cool.
No, we are very complementary to Salesforce because we are not competing with any of CRM systems or any of the file sharing systems, because we are very complementary. We pull the content and documents from wherever it is, so nobody has to change any infrastructure. And we are very, very complementary and build it completely agnostic to technology.
Was there another interface, or was that little interface all we saw? Or is there like a full web interface to it as well?
Yeah, we have a web interface. You have seen the desktop where the content is shared. Right. So that is where the content is created, organized, managed, shared. Whereas the VT widget is the one where the salesperson uses in the daily life.
I think this is a huge problem. I mean, I would echo that. It's a huge problem for big companies they all 10 different salespeople give 10 different messages and everybody gets pissed off. So this is a huge problem. I think the challenge you will have is selling it. The people who are going to have this problem are the largest enterprises in the world. Smaller companies aren't going to have this issue. And so getting this product such that it can be, it's going to have to be adapted into whatever their existing systems are.
Well, you would say have a bottom-up approach like SurveyMonkey, right, Dave? Like allow it to be free up to a point,
Yeah, but I'm with Rowan. I think it seems like it'd be very useful, but it's not useful if you've got 3 support people. Right. Like they're not, or 3 salespeople. Like this is useful when you have large numbers of people, and so maybe it's not the biggest companies, but you've got to get to a certain scale, and there's probably, it's in the thousands of companies where this is really useful. And so, how do you think about your sales effort is probably.
Is that true? Do you guys agree? That
yes.
You need to have 1,000 salespeople? Because I would use this for 2 salespeople.
Like if you had 50 or something.
No, I said like thousands of companies.
Oh, thousands
of
companies. Yeah.
I would think that you got a couple hundred people.
Yeah, for sure.
I think for 3 people this would be great because you onboard the 3rd person, then they need to get all the latest updates, and I don't know.
I cringe at the number of form letters that I'm now going to get because of the software. But besides that, I think that it's interesting to have the form letter stuff, but make it more interesting to me is to actually be able to track which of those canned responses generate the highest open rate or interaction rate.
Oh,
That's what I'm looking to see. That way I could say, aha, I have these 18 templates, these 3 return the best conversion rate. That's what I like to see.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And where is it?
Are you going to build that? Is it on the roadmap?
I think we first thought that only large companies need this, and I was always thinking that we were pitching only to very large companies. Then we go and talk to small startups, 10 people, 15 people, and they would say, you know what, we have the same problem. Our own management team cannot speak with one voice. Forget about salespeople. So we need this. Then you talked about analytics, and that is the key. We didn't have the time to show it. Like a large company like Cisco, for example, what are the resellers having conversations with their end customers? We can track it real time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Would you enable this for their resellers as well?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. That's one of the key value propositions. It's
so
across the value chain.
Is it cloud-based?
It's completely cloud-based, but we do have option to host it as a virtual private cloud or on-site hosting. But we definitely enable the entire collaboration all the way to the partners as well as the end customers.
David, would this be a great purchase for Yammer? Could you imagine this being part of Yammer?
Well, probably not Yammer because we're more of a internal communication technology, and this is really more about helping your sales and customer service people communicate externally, but I think it would be a great pickup for a Salesforce, especially, or it could be, you know, Dynamics or something like that. I think this is tremendously useful. I think any sales or customer service department that's got even, I'd say, a few dozen people, I could see it being very useful. And even if it is an enterprise sale, the good news is you can sell it to the VP of sales or the VP of customer service. It's a very targeted sale within the enterprise. You don't need to get necessarily enterprise IT on board. You're going to be selling it the same way that Salesforce sold in the early days. You go straight to the VP of sales. The only thing you've said that I don't like is that you have an on-premise version. You know, that's the only thing I get rid of because that just massively magnifies your complexity.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be able to scale faster. Just do a cloud product. What do you need to go after the on-prem version for?
Awesome. Let's hear it for Woody Parrott. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. So next up is 5by, the last of our official competition, and then we're going to go into the demo pit selections. But this is the last of the 1.0s. 5by, go for it.
I love online video. In fact, we all do. But with 1.5 million videos being uploaded to YouTube every day, how the hell are we supposed to go through that information and find the best ones to watch? Welcome to 5by.com, your video concierge. Built on top of popular video hosting services like YouTube and Vimeo, 5by recommends you videos to watch based on time of day, what you're in the mood for, and more. Let's take it for a spin. So, it's Wednesday afternoon. What are you in the mood to watch? Do you want to rock out? Do you want to be inspired? Do you want to learn something? Geek out? Do you want to make me laugh? All right, make me laugh. Okay, we all want to have a few giggles. How much time do you have? Do you have 5 minutes, 15 minutes? 5by cares about that. So you go ahead and you click 15 minutes.
If I ever have that, let me know.
Contextually, 5by serves up what 5by thinks you'll like. Auto-tune remix, comedy skits, Harlem Shake, LOL. Let's try Auto-tune remix. I've had enough. You've had enough of Harlem Shake. Boom. Instantly, you have curated videos, Auto-tune remix just in your queue. All you have to sit there is laugh. You got Bob Ross there, you're going to laugh a lot. Gingers Have Soul, come on, who doesn't laugh at that? All you got to do is sit back and relax.
Sound.
So?
Where's the sound?
You've had enough of Slapshot Auto-tune remix videos. You want to go, you're going to a cocktail party tonight. Say there's a bunch of Wall Street people there. And, you know, you don't want to sound like an idiot. You want to see what's happening, what's trending in the stock market community. So you go ahead, you click channels. And you scroll down to, let's see if there's a stock market channel. Yep, you got a stock market channel. Now, the way channels work on 5by is a lot like how Reddit works. People post videos to channels, community upvotes it, downvotes it, best up rises to the top. Additionally, you have moderator, so a curation element. So you can see you have Howard Lindzen here, CEO of StockTwits and well-known trader who's helping curate those videos. So you know that the videos are good quality. You don't have to go to YouTube and spend hours sifting for that. Forget about it. So you go, you see stock market reaches all-time high. That's probably relevant. You know, Dow is set to surge higher. That's probably a good conversation starter. You just go, you add it to your queue, and you could be assured that all the videos are good. And in a nutshell, that's what 5by is. It's really dead simple. If you like watching online video, you're just going to get a lot of stuff that you really like to watch. We believe in context. We believe in curation. And we're launching here today. And check it out. Let us know what you think. Additionally, we're raising a seed round, so if you want to learn more, email us at founders@5by.com. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay, thoughts on content curation of videos?
So is there personalization involved, or it's all just curated?
So based on time of day, location, and we're pulling in some social graph info, we add that kind of layer of context, so it's not just curation.
So while I hear that this is good for prepping for parties, it's really an entertainment source. So what's going to drive folks off of everything else that's out there to spend time here?
Well, I think that it's not just about entertainment, it's about anything, from entertainment to education. And I think that what's going to drive people is people are sick of going to YouTube and just searching and spending a lot of time. This is dead simple. You get there and it takes you to the process of discovery. It's worked really well for music, hasn't worked really well for video.
Like Songza, for example?
Songza for video, exactly.
That's
you
what
got
we
it.
call it. All the content is YouTube content?
So we're launching today with YouTube, Vimeo. Within the next 2 weeks, we'll have about 10 to 15 other sources.
And where's the money?
So we're building the interest graph for video, so contextual lead gen, right? So once we understand, it's Friday night, you want to watch movie trailers, we'll kind of upsell you to the Netflix of the world and put ads in between.
I love the idea. I got suckered one time into watching a stupid YouTube video, and ever since then, the recommendations have all been crap. So, I'm sold. Why didn't launch use it for finding the best curated videos of pitches?
Could have easily done that.
Should have done that.
Yeah.
Jason spitting on Chamath. Jason spitting on Chamath would be like up here.
There you go.
You missed it, Dave.
We'll talk about that for next year.
So is there any actual tech beyond for the recommendations and categories, or is it really just, you mentioned a little bit of location and time and social graph, but beyond that it really is moderation and upvotes and downvotes? Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's funny, we actually started the company with the idea of doing a video recommendation engine, looked at hiring, MIT grads and stuff like that, and then we just said, you know what? I think this would be a better solution. It's just a lot more simple. And
well, Jason can talk all about human-powered search if you want to get some tips.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't jump in front of Google.
Right. You've got to do a better job with songs. I have a hard time with the music selections it makes. So, I mean, that's going to be key.
Right. And what we're really excited about is we're going multi-platform. So, obviously mobile, but also television. So, huge opportunity there. The television app market is where mobile was in 2007. So that's our next step.
So you will be on devices, trying to get on devices.
Exactly.
Okay.
Do you guys think there's a chance, what's the best advice to getting people off of YouTube onto a curation service? Do you guys think that that's reasonable or easy or possible?
So I mean, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. I've helped Jim Lanzone start Clicker. I was an investor in a company
which launched here.
VideoSurf.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Yeah. I think there's a real need for discovery, and search is not the answer for video. It doesn't work, and particularly searching on unstructured tag data is kind of useless. So there is a real need for browse and discovery. I'm not sure that there's enough here to make it work. It's a really, really hard problem, and I think it's interesting to see what happens with what you guys do, but I guess having spent a lot of time looking at this space, I think it's not simple.
And
Definitely not simple.
My advice would be start with one category and do a really great job there, because you had everything on there, and go with music videos or something. That you can do really well, because if you try and do everything, then you're not going to do any of them well.
Did Clicker, Dave, build audience, or did they build tech and then they got sold? Because I didn't perceive that they hit scale, but they built a beautiful product.
Yeah, Clicker, I mean, there was audience, and there's also a lot of So there's sort of two approaches to this problem. One is like pure tech, which was VideoSurf, which Microsoft bought, which is really like understanding semantically what's in the video, right? And being able to sort of do stuff with that. And then the other is human-generated sort of data, which is what Clicker was doing. And there's probably some combination between the two that's really needed to get this, but it's really hard to get right. I actually think it's, having spent a lot of time on music, this is 10 times harder than music. That's why no one solved it.
Yeah, Dave Goldberg started Launch.com, which was purchased by Yahoo.
You've now copied my logo, not just my name. I want to point out, this is my old logo. It looks exactly like that.
Does it look like it?
Yeah.
Very similar.
Well, did you have the astronaut cap?
No astronaut, but the font.
Really?
Change the font, and it looks exactly the same.
Awesome. Well, you know, they say mature poets are mature poets. More questions. Stefan? What do you think when you have an entrepreneur who's in this position of taking on a challenge that, let's face it, everybody has failed at? Nobody has ever been able to crack this nut. What do you, as investors and judges, how do you give feedback? I mean, do you want to tell them to try your hardest but understand it's a 1 in 100, or do you want to tell them stop and find another problem?
I say go for it. I mean, look, content curation is the key, right? It's the curator. So you had Howard Lindzen. If I was a stock guy, that's probably who I would watch if you can get him. So everything, your product is going to live and die by the content curators. So good luck.
Lean into the content curator.
Yeah, I think you have to go very specific audience, frankly.
Yeah,
I can see an interesting e-learning thing or something like that. I think opening it up to the world, I would say don't do that. That just seems like too much of a problem. But a certain audience, though, like for maybe it is stock guys, maybe it is educators teaching geography. Those things I think can be not a huge business, but a very interesting product.
How will they know they've cracked the code? How will they know if they've actually succeeded? Like if they do it in a vertical,
traffic.
X will happen. Well, not. I mean, that's obvious.
Users and traffic.
Yeah, but I mean, is there something, you know, in one? Is there some like
I think people's expectations of how good something like this should be are very high, and the reality of delivering that is very, very hard. And so it's really this gap of people's expectations versus reality. Like I said, music, if you think about it, has there's millions of songs, but there's actually only a few thousand artists that matter. It's not actually that hard to then group those artists by genre and to then curate on that. And so music is actually really simple relative to video. And so that's why I think, yeah, if you focus really hard on one category, it's still going to be hard, but you might figure out a way to crack it, and you'll see that community grow. I think trying to do everything is
so you see this
way
as,
too hard.
In a way, like what Pandora did to MP3s and individual tracks, this could be.
In a very specific category, you might be able
more
to
like songs.
Certain category, yeah. There's 1.5 million videos today get uploaded. It's just that your ability to understand those things is just—it's not the same as the art. It's not the same as Music Tuesday, where everything comes out, right?
I mean, we used to manually update our music database with all the new music that came out. You can't do that with online video. It's just massive amounts.
Awesome. Any closing feedback?
Thanks for listening, guys.
Okay, cheers. Bye-bye. Okay, really quick. We got to see a couple of companies there, 5by doing video curation, Witty Parrot doing sales, collateral automation, Fanformed, Kickstarter plus factory workers, building like in a quirky style, Addict Aid, Yelp for meetings, Cloudless, which was cloud storage of attachments, Trailer Pop, which was video game surveys and movie discovery, Navisense, which was your actual location inside of small spaces. Did you have a favorite? Which was your favorite? David, you have a favorite out of that group?
Well, I had a few in different ways.
Give me your 1 and 2.
Well, I would say that Witty Parrot is the best business, and therefore probably, you know, if you wanted to plunk down some of my my angel dollars, probably.
You feel good about that?
I'd feel good. I thought Navisense was the best technology. I thought it was a glimpse of the future. I think, you know, Google Maps or someone like that should buy it, you know, ASAP. I'm already an investor in Cloudless. I think it is a need. And then Adicade, I thought, was, you know, I think definitely served a need. I think there's a need for a push-button experience for virtually every type of data like that. And I think, they'll be successful as well.
Great. Clint?
Yeah, I'm with David.
Top two.
Yeah, I think Cloudless, great feature. Great to see if they can make a business. Atticade, inspiring. NaviSim's the future.
So your top two are Cloudless and Atticade.
Yep.
My top two are Witty Parrot and Atticade. I think Witty Parrot, I'd agree, that's where I'd put my money. Atticade, because I think it's awesome and it's needed and it'll happen.
Awesome.
Those are my two.
Dave, top two.
NavSense, I just thought that, getting that technology right is just, that's like really, I mean, it's hard, and I don't know the details behind it, but if you can really get that right, I thought it was great. I liked a lot of the other ones. I guess I would sort of go with Cloudless as two.
Okay. Rachel.
NaviSense and Atticade.
Why?
I was going to be so quick, we were going to move on.
No. I want to hear the why. Yeah.
I'm inspired by what Sam's trying to do. I think that's great. I think there's a major need, and I think that just, like her co-founder said, I mean, that's kind of the way kids are growing up. That's what they think. The children with all the iPads and iPhones. That's how they communicate, and that's how they're going to find information. So I think that's really critical.
Yep.
And NaviSense, I mean, just my question to him, right? How is this going to be on my iPhone? I see that just is the way that we're going to need to start thinking things much more of a detailed way. So it would be amazing not to crack.
Stefan.
I like FanFormed and Atticade.
So wow, first for FanFormed.
Yeah, first for FanFormed.
What did you like about FanFormed?
People are getting across, and all demos are getting very interested in kind of customization, and the dream of mass customization has been around for as long as I can remember, right? But we're actually now seeing that ability to happen with smaller lot sizes in factories, with the ability to do custom printing on a 3D level, the ability to have people who are very passionate about a certain area actually come together and build something in cyberspace. These are things that I just think they could partner with a lot of companies and do, whether it's Pinterest or Indiegogo or whatnot, and actually do some really cool stuff. I also like those guys. Atticade, same thing. I looked at it though from I think there's a business there too. I think around getting addicts together, helping them form those communities online. I think there's significant dollars there you could go after.
Looking at the cohort, people maybe you didn't pick, what were they lacking? What did they need to do to amp it up? So we saw Trailer Pop and maybe FanFormed and 5by didn't get a ton of votes or any. What do they need to do to get their products to level up and inspire people more? So looking at the ones who didn't register as well with you guys, Trailer Pop, FanFormed, and 5by, why didn't they register? What can they do to cross the chasm as
I think Trailer Pop is the dark horse. My wife sits at home all the time watching previews on her Apple TV, just constantly, and trailers. So I think that's the dark horse, because that's something that I think people are super passionate about and they will spend time on. And if you get eyeballs in time, you can have a business.
What did you think of his answer, like, we're going to sell it? Like, that was the first idea. I hate that answer from an entrepreneur. Like, we're building it to sell it. It was like, oh, I hate when people say it. And then he sort of said, well, we want to build it media.
To me, it felt like just a creative agency's product. Like, I could get it from Digitas. I'm sure it's much more complex than that, but I felt like basically Digitas would give it to me if I wanted to.
It felt like in one of those instances where you didn't have the large mission. You had the small execution, but not the larger mission.
Yeah, I think some of them, I think 5by, like, they're trying to solve a big problem. I think they've got to either figure out some much more sophisticated kind of technical approach to solve that larger problem, or they've got to, as we said, they've got to focus really narrowly and get something to work. But I've seen a lot of stuff in that space, and so I'm probably pretty skeptical.
Why didn't Rowan, Clint, or David?
If they could solve it, it'd be awesome, right? It's just super hard.
Clint, any advice for the people who didn't break out today, like Space Monkey did last year?
Yeah, I think FanFormed, didn't break out to me just because they didn't grab my creative attention. Like, if they were going after, the whole maker world and like, hey, we want to take your idea from nothing to something, they kind of made this kind of idea of like, oh, well, we've got this stuff in China, and then we can connect you, and then we take some money and give it to the, inspire how a average guy with a great idea can make a product. That would have done way more for me than this kind of random story that they told.
Yeah, the example wasn't great. Okay, well, let's hear it for our judges, Stefan, Rachel, Dave, Rowan.
We'll applaud ourselves,
Zach. Very well done. And we'll just take a 5-minute break, and then we're going to bring the grand jury up to go over the 6 companies or 7 companies from the demo pit. Thank you to 3 of our sponsors, Digital Detox, who's been giving out those great massages out there, ESRI, and Altimeter Capital. Big round of applause for our sponsors. Thank you, and we'll see you in 5 minutes. Yes.